Well, we are kicking off National Nurses Week today. ABC 10 News is sharing stories of hope and inspiration from the front lines. This morning, reporter Jared Ahrens introduces us to Kailan Miller, a nurse whose podcast, The Anxious RN, has helped hundreds of people cope with the pressures of the pandemic.
March 8th of last year, Kailan Miller and her fiancé Dean celebrated a bridal shower, looking forward to a wedding in May. And then
sometime mid-March is when we went to lockdown, and I was like, oh my gosh, we've been planning this wedding for a year and it's not going to happen.
A canceled wedding was the first of many challenges COVID-19 threw at Kailan. As a nurse at Sharp Memorial, her floor became a full-fledged COVID unit. Kailan confronted the grim horror of the pandemic every day.
It was honestly very scary. As COVID got more intense, I was like, this is affecting us emotionally, mentally, physically, so much more than I think any of us could have ever imagined.
To cope, Kailan looked for a podcast about nurses and the pandemic. She didn't find one. So, armed with her computer, a Zoom account, and some online tutorials, she created The Anxious RN.
Hey guys, it's Kailan, your host of The Anxious RN.
Really, at first, it was more therapy for me, and then I realized how much it's helping other people.
Since October, Kailan has produced 19 episodes talking to mental health experts and other doctors and nurses from around the world about the challenges they faced during the pandemic.
They talk about what they're dealing with, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel that same way, or I've dealt with that too. And then you're like, I'm not crazy. This is something that everyone's feeling.
Kailan says a few hundred people download each episode, way more than she ever imagined. Finding this community has already helped her deal with anxiety and depression.
I really want to open up the conversation about that so people don't feel as taboo talking about it.
Meanwhile, Kailan and Dean got married in a small 5-minute ceremony last May. Now that hospitalizations are down and the pandemic is easing in the U.S., Kailan's not sure how many more episodes she'll make, but the archive is still around for anyone who needs it.
I think if I can help one person, then I did my job, and that was the goal at the beginning of this.
Jared Ahrens, ABC 10 News.
Kailan says she's happy to talk with anyone who needs help, and we have put her email and a link to her podcast on our website, 10news.com.